You know, when you're watching a Studio Ghibli film, think about those moments, like someone just carefully slicing a tomato or the way tea gets poured, even kids running through grass. There's just this magic to it, right? Even in the totally ordinary stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of captivating, isn't it? What makes the everyday feel so special in their work.
Exactly. And that's what we want to, get into today.
Right. So this deep dive, we're really going to try and unpack what creates that Ghibli feeling. We looked at the Soak's YouTube video.
How Studio Ghibli makes the mundane feel magical. Great title.
It is. And it gives us basically 3 main threads to follow. Really compelling idea.
Totally. So our mission, if you will, is to explore these 3 things. First, this idea of a Shintoistic worldview influencing everything. Then the incredible attention to detail they're famous for.
It's legendary, yeah.
And finally, how they mix magic with really grounded realism.
It's a fascinating mix.
We want to see how these all kind of weave together and maybe find some, fresh takes on why these films hit so hard. Okay, so let's start with that first one, the Shinto influence.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of amazing how deep this runs in Japanese culture and, right into Ghibli's storytelling.
Right.
Shinto, like the video points out, it's Japan's native spiritual path, sort of alongside Buddhism. And the core idea is kami.
Kami, right. Spirits.
Yeah, spirits, or maybe like a divine presence. It's believed to be in every trees, rivers, rock, even food.
So it's not quite like a religion with specific gods and lots of rules, more like a basic respect for nature.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. The video suggests it's almost like a moral code centered on reverence for the natural world.
A sacredness in everything.
Precisely. You see it in daily life, too. The video mentioned saying itadakimasu before eating.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. It's like saying grace, sort of, but the emphasis is a bit different. It's less about thanking, say, a god for the food, and more about gratitude to the meal itself. Acknowledging its value, the life involved.
Ah, okay. That makes sense, especially with how Ghibli draws food. It's always so lovingly detailed.
It's not just fuel. It feels important, almost like an offering in the scene itself.
Yeah.
And you feel this philosophy in the settings, too, right? Like the bathhouse in Spirited Away, just teeming with spirit.
Totally. Or the forest in Princess Mononoke. It feels ancient, powerful.
Or even the garden in Totoro. It's just a garden, but it feels vibrant, full of wonder. These places aren't just backdrops.
They feel like they have a presence.
Exactly. Imbued with kami. Think about the little things, too, like the soot sprite.
Oh, yeah.
Or the acorns in Totoro. They seem to have their own tiny life force. That's kami.
Okay, got it. So this respect for nature and the everyday is, foundational.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears a bit to the second point, their famous attention to detail. This actually ties into that whole Ghibli AI filter thing recently, doesn't it? It really does. The video brought that up, the controversy around AI trying to copy the Ghibli look, and Hayao Miyazaki's comments about AI were right in the middle of it.
Right, I remember that.
What's really interesting, though, is the context for that quote everyone knows. I strongly believe this is an insult to life itself.
The video explained that. Yeah, it wasn't just some random outburst against all AI.
No, not at all. It was a direct reaction to seeing an AI model that was generating movements for zombie-like figures.
And he found it disturbing.
Deeply. Especially because he has a friend with a disability, and he felt the AI had zero understanding of, physical struggle or pain.
Ah, okay.
The video quotes him, "Whoever creates this stuff has no idea what pain is whatsoever. I am utterly disgusted." And he said he'd never use that tech, calling it an insult to life itself.
Wow.
So the key thing wasn't just the tech, but it's complete lack of understanding, of experience, of pain, which really gets to the heart of his whole approach to art.
Yeah, the video connects this to a quote from his book, Starting Point, something like,
Anime may depict fictional worlds, but I nonetheless believe that at its core, it must have a certain realism.
Right. Even if the world depicted is a lie, the trick is to make it seem as real as possible.
That's it. That's the Ghibli magic ingredient, isn't it? Grounding the fantasy in reality is what pulls you in. AI can copy a style, maybe, but it doesn't understand emotion, intent, the feeling behind it. It can't grasp pain or joy.
Which brings us back to the details. The video had that great example from My Neighbor Totoro, comparing how the 2 sisters, Satsuki and Mei, move around their new house. Can you unpack that a bit?
Oh, it's perfect. It shows that commitment to realism so well. Satsuki, she's the older sister, right? So she moves with more purpose. She's careful.
Measured.
Yeah, measured. How she opens a door, puts something down, it feels thought out. But Mei, she's pure little kid energy. Impulsive, clumsy sometimes, copying her big sister, but maybe using too much force or not quite getting why Satsuki did something a certain way.
This tiny difference.
Exactly. The posture, how they interact with objects, it makes them feel real. It brings them to life. It's in those little carefully animated moments that the realism shines through, even when there's a giant fluffy forest spirit involved.
It makes you notice things.
It does. Watching them be so present in their movements, it almost makes us more present. We feel the weight, the intention.
It's that dedication to authentic moments, even tiny ones, that makes their worlds feel so... Okay, so we've got the Shinto foundation, the intense realism. Let's hit the third point. Mixing magic and realism. This is where it gets really interesting.
It really is. So the video mentions this idea called defamiliarization. Comes from a Russian formalist critic, Victor Shklovsky.
Defamiliarization, making the familiar strange.
Kind of, yeah. Zoe Crombie wrote about how Ghibli does this. By showing everyday things, cooking, cleaning, walking really realistically in animation, it makes us see them again, like properly notice them.
Because it's animated, it's slightly different, so you pay more attention than you would in real life.
Exactly. Think about watching someone cook in a Ghibli film. We all cook, right? Often just going through the motions. But seeing it animated so deliberately.
You really watch it, the way they chop, the textures.
Yes. And the video points out the characters often seem genuinely happy doing these simple things. Cooking, cleaning, taking a bath.
Finding joy in the routine.
Which maybe makes us think, am I missing something in my own chores?
Yeah.
It links back to that itadakimasu idea, too, that gratitude for the simple things.
And they flip it, right? Magic becomes kind of normal.
Yeah, this is super important. A lot of fantasy makes magic this huge, epic thing for battles and stuff.
Right.
But in Ghibli films Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's delivery service magic is often just used for everyday tasks.
Like Kiki flying just to deliver bread and parcels.
Or Howl using spells to try and clean his messy castle. It's rarely about massive power displays.
It's practical magic.
Totally. And the video really highlights Kiki just being able to fly. It's not world-breaking power. It's just enough to help her find her way, connect with people, deal with, growing up. It adds to her life. It doesn't solve everything.
So the magic isn't separate from their lives. It's woven right in. The video said something like, it feels like magic is only ever one step away from the everyday things.
Yeah, which loops back beautifully to Kami, right? The spirits being present in the ordinary world. Magic feels close, accessible.
That makes so much sense. Wonder isn't some far-off thing. It's right here in our routines, potentially.
Exactly. It's a lovely symmetry.
Okay, so wrapping it all up, we've got this Shinto respect for the everyday, this incredible focus on realistic detail, and then grounding the magical in the mundane. It all works together.
Yeah, those three things combined create films that are fantastical, but also deeply, deeply relatable. They make you look at the world, maybe even your own life, a bit differently, with a bit more enchantment.
Which kind of brings it back to you, listening. Think about your own day. Where's the potential magic? Maybe it's just, the way light hits the floor in the morning.
With that first sip of coffee, the quiet of doing dishes, maybe just a walk outside.
Yeah.
This deep dive, it sort of suggests that maybe we're already living in something that could feel like a Ghibli film if we just shifted our view a little.
Maybe that wonder is closer than we think.
Could be.
So next time you're doing something totally normal, washing up, making toast, whatever, just take a second. Maybe that everyday magic Ghibli shows us. Right. Maybe it's only a small shift in perspective away from your own reality.